What did I say?
During the meanwhilest.
During the meanwhilest. No, I
No,
don't
no.
like that at all.
Well, hello, it's a very, very excitable Dexter and me, with yet another midweek interruption for you. And the reason why he's excited, well, or excitable, well, his cousin, who belonged to Lisa's sister's family, his cousin Jack, came over to visit, and they both went off to the groomers together. They get very, very excited and excitable when they see each other, and it's lovely to see them together. It really is. And when Jack went home, Dexter stood by our gate and cried for about half an hour. It was heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. Anyway, the reason for this evening's, or whenever you're watching this, but the reason for this video isn't photography related at all. It's back to cars. If you saw my video of a few weeks ago, or a couple of weeks ago now, you will know that we traded in our Audi TTS and Volkswagen Up for a VW ID3. And after a few weeks of ownership and a few hundred miles, I figured I'd let you know my thoughts for what they're worth anyway. Why did I buy the car in the first place? Well, environmental reasons really. We're trying to be greener as a family. I want us to have sort of really green, credentials if we can. So I figured that getting an electric car was a big step in that direction. And we actually filmed this video up on the Barron Mountain north of Swansea, which houses a multitude of wind turbines, which hopefully one day will generate all the electricity we need, that and solar power anyway, to power these electric cars. The reason we went with Volkswagen was quite a simple one. We narrowed it down to either VW or the Honda E. And to be honest, we were trading in two VW cars for one, and it was easier to go with Volkswagen, to be honest. The electric vehicle thing, it fits our style of motoring really. We're saving money. We're going to save an awful lot of money. And also this car is giving us a lot more interior space. Exterior design wise, I really like the car. I mean, it's reasonably futuristic without being too quirky. It's quite a big car, which is why you went for it in a dark colour to try and shrink it down a little bit. But having said that, it's quite easy to place on the road and to park, although there is a bit of an annoying sort of double A pillar thing going on, which if you're going around corners can make it a little bit awkward to see around the bend, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Interior wise, it's a really minimalistic look, and I like that sort of clean, uncluttered look and feel. But we will get on to the interior a little bit later. Driving experience wise, well, I went for the 58 kilowatt hour Pro Performance model, which gives 204 PS or horsepower or whatever it is, 204 metric horsepower in it, I think. So it's about 200 probably bhp. It's really quick. The car is very, very fast, especially initial acceleration from like 0 up to normal traffic speeds of 30 or 40. It's bang. It's there, and I will post a little video a little bit later where we measured the 0 to 60, and you'll be quite surprised at the result we had. Comfort levels and interior space are excellent, and it's a very, very quiet drive, eerily so when you first pull off or pull away, but once you're up to normal sort of road speeds, it's no different then really to a petrol car, except that when you do plant your right foot there's no noise, just like a satisfying whoosh, and off you go. The handling is strangely okay for a 2-ton car, but I guess that's down to the fact that all the batteries are in the floor, keeping the centre of gravity really quite low, and it's a rear-wheel drive car, so the steering is really quite nice because it's only doing one job, steering the car. It's not steering it and driving the car forward. Range-wise, it's advertised to do 260 miles. I've charged it twice since I've had it, and both times when I've gone into the car in the morning, it showed a range of over 300 miles on the dashboard. But to be honest, round town with the regenerative braking, when that kicks in, I would imagine that 260 is going to be quite attainable. To be honest, yeah, if you're going to be driving on motorways with your aircon always on, or your heated seats and heated steering wheel and climate, this, that, and the other, yeah, it's going to be a lot more restricted. But in real world terms, I mean, how often in this country do you need the aircon blasting or heated seats? Where we live here in South Wales, we don't get a climate anymore, we just get weather. And it seems to be around about 16 to 18 degrees for about 80% of the year. The rest of the time, we might get some hot weather and we might get some really cold weather, but those are extremes. Yeah, so I figure that we're going to get quite close. Well, I have already got quite close to that advertised 260 mile range. Right, before I get on to the plus points, I want to cover the negatives because there are quite a few. The interior trim is, for a £30,000 car, awful. They are hard, scratchy plastics which mark really easily, and it just doesn't feel premium. Yes, the bits you touch, like the steering wheel and the gear thing and all that, they're fine, they're all right, but even the tops of the doors is like scratchy hard plastic. Now I understand VW are cost cutting majorly. They've got Dieselgate, which they're still paying for, and they're also running two now powertrains side by side, which must cost them an absolute fortune. So I guess that the knife has to fall somewhere to cut costs and to make it profitable for them. Otherwise, these cars would probably be a lot more expensive. But the interior does get scuffed up quite easily. It gets scuffs and marks, so I'm forever wiping it down. There's piano black inserts on the doors and the center console and the screen, obviously. They're all dust and fingerprint magnets. So again, I'm forever wiping those down. Standard equipment levels, very poor. You only get 2 speakers in this car for the sound system. I thought there were 5 because there's like 2 grills in the back door and there's a grill in the dash. But the one in the dash is for phone and for announcements, and the 2 in the rear, there's nothing there's nothing behind the grills. So again, a £30,000 car with only 2 speakers. Thankfully, from the front seats anyway, it does sound, well, more than fine. I'm no audiophile, but I do like decent sound quality, and they do sound, the speakers and the audio system in general does sound very nice to my ears. There's no 12-volt socket in the cabin itself. There is one in the boot, so I've run our dash cam cable from there right the way through the car up to there for now until I can find a hardwire solution. But there are no air vents in the back, and for the first time for years, I've been buying cars, new cars, since 1995, and it's the first time I've ever had a car delivered with no car mats in it. So yeah, VW are being that tight, so I had to go and buy some car mats, and I certainly wasn't going to spend £110 that VW wanted for a set. So I got some online for about 25 quid, which are probably exactly the same, to be honest. Quite surprisingly, from a car that's been designed from day one and ground up as an EV, there is nowhere to store your charge cables. Now, some models come with a false boot floor. Mine hasn't, and I am going to make one. But if you haven't got that, then the cables are just like rattling around in the boot. I've managed to squeeze mine down into the gap where the sort of the tyre gunge is, because there's no spare wheel. And I managed to squeeze it in there, but it's far from ideal. And as soon as I made my false floor for this boot, I'll be moving it out from there. The accompanying phone app is pretty well useless, to be honest, and I don't use it at all. I think all you can do with it is monitor your charging and set your aircon to come on and off. I'm not going to use that. The infotainment system, this is Volkswagen's latest system, so I think it's across all their vehicles, and I don't like it. You operate everything via a touchscreen. There are no rotary dials or physical switches, which I think would have been better for things like volume and fan speed and temperature, but go figure. And to make matters worse, the volume and the temperature controls on the little infotainment thing aren't illuminated at night, so you don't know where they are. Anyway, I think buttons would have been a lot better. The system does seem really glitchy. We get random front collision warnings coming up for no reason. Random announcements over the sat-nav saying restricted access ahead when you're just on a normal road. The wireless Apple CarPlay is hit and miss. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And media playback in general is a bit glitchy. For instance, we were in the car the other day and I was listening to Radio 2. My daughter was playing her music over her Bluetooth headphones, but her phone wasn't even connected to the car. Yeah, every time I turned the volume up or down on the radio, her music would cut out. And when she changed tracks, the radio would cut out. And when she was changing tracks on her phone, the radio would cut out and her media would start playing. Which is really strange considering she wasn't even connected to the car. And a couple of weeks ago we made a phone call while we were out and hung up and everything, but the whole system just then froze. Couldn't do anything with it at all. It was stuck on the phone screen, and even though I turned my phone off, it was still showing that the call was connected to, I'd rung home to Lisa. So my daughter then rang home on her phone, thinking that perhaps her mother had left her phone off the hook, but no, that wasn't the case. So the only way we cured that was to come to a complete halt, switch the whole car down, get out, lock it, stay away for a few minutes, get back in, and the system seemed to reset itself. But if that's going to happen regularly, that's going to be a real pain in the backside when you're making a phone call. Right, that's the bad points out of the way. I'm sure there are more, because it is a new car, and we are kind of like early adopters. But yeah, there are good points though, and the good points for me do outweigh the bad ones. The driving experience itself is excellent. The acceleration is rapid and is quite addictive. I'll pop a video up now. We measured 0 to 62 in sports mode in under 6.5 seconds. which is quick enough by any standards. The ride quality is really nice, even over very poor surfaces, and the comfort levels and interior space are excellent. It's really easy to get a good driving position for both myself at 6 foot and Lisa, who is 5 foot, 5'1" if you believe her, but she's about 5 foot and a bit. And we can both get really comfortable driving positions in the car. Tech levels are decent. It's got everything you're ever going to need from day to day out of a car. You've got Bluetooth hands-free. You've got you can play your media. It's got climate control. It's got whatever you want, whatever you're going to want or realistically need. It's got the boot is really sizable and very, very practical. When you fold the rear seats down, it is enormous. Build quality, despite the actual sort of quality of the materials itself, the build quality does seem to be fine with no rattles or squeaks. Even on really, really bad roads, I can't hear anything. And in terms of real world, real driver, not a car reviewer, the car it's fine. It does the job it sets out to do, which is being green and saving me money, because I no longer have to go and give Shell £80 a month to run my cars. All right, I know that my electricity bill is going to go up a little bit, and when it comes to charging, at the moment we've only got a 3-pin to Type 2 plug to charge the car. I'm still waiting to have our home charger installed. We've not used any public charging sort of stations, and given the way we use the car, I doubt we ever will, to be honest. If we do have to go on a really long journey, then maybe we will have to charge sort of halfway, but unless and until that happens, I can't see us using any of the charging stations around here at all. Charging wise, the 2 times I've charged it have been from like 30% to 80 and 30% to 100, and they both charged fine overnight. The 30 to 100 took about 10 hours, I think, 10 or 11 hours of charging, but as we weren't using the car, it didn't matter. So in conclusion then, the main reason for me buying this car was to be more green, and I think it's going to achieve that. We overlooked the shortcomings, like the utilitarian cabin and things like that, because we like the exterior design and the space that the car offers. And after my initial few weeks of ownership, I'm quite happy that we've bought the right car right now at the moment. I might look at ways perhaps to improve the interior ambience. I mean, I'm sure that companies will come up with sort of dress-up kits for the interior, and I might look at something like that then in the near future. The main bugbear for me is the software, the glitchy software. Hopefully that will be addressed with a software update at some stage in the future. What we will do now is, we leave you in peace for starters, and in about 6 months' time, I'll provide a longer term ownership experience update. At the moment, I miss my Audi TTS. I'm not missing the performance because, you can't drive it fast anyway, and this car is more than equal to the Audi TTS. What I am missing though is the interior quality and just the sort of luxury cosseted feel you had in that car. Lisa, much less so. Coming from her up, she's more than happy with the interior of this ID3. Right. Sorry if I've been looking over to the right, but I've got, or to your left, my right, but I've got some notes that I've been referring to throughout this video to make sure I don't forget anything, and I'm just going to check very quickly to make sure that I haven't. I don't think I have. Right. If anybody watching this video, well, thanks for watching for a start. But if you've got anything you want to know, any questions, I've had the car a few weeks now, so I might be in a better position to answer them. So if you've got anything you want covered, then let me know in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get back to you if I know the answer. Right, that's it for this video. Dexter and I will be back on Saturday with yet another of our photography or photographic blockbusters. Until then, stay safe, stay well, look after yourselves. Thanks very much for watching, and see you soon.